Hi, Mara. So I think I guess the first question I need to ask you is, what the heck happened to Algeria? I mean, just a few weeks ago, you guys were flying. You won the Arab Cup. You're chasing the world record on the world unbeaten record run. You smashed Ghana 3 in the friendly, and then you come to the AFCON and there's a meltdown. There's an implosion. What the heck is going on?
Honestly, Colin, we're all asking each other that exact same question. As you mentioned, we'd been on a 35 match winning streak, just two away from the world record that Italy set last summer. We won the Arab Cup with the local side. Um, and we beat Ghana in the pre-match friendly 3-0. Dispatched them pretty easily. So things looked good prior to the tournament. And the first match against Sierra Leone, we figured, it really was 2 p.m.
Not that Ghana are a good team. I mean, let's Ghana
No
are just as
comment.
hopeless as any team right now.
No comment. But yeah, for the first fixture, like we see in these 2 p.m. fixtures, even with Senegal, that like sometimes the heat and the humidity can really affect the team. And I saw that myself when I was in the stadium. I could feel like the air was thick. It was hard to run in. And I think it affected both sides. It made for a little bit of a boring match. But I think overall, you had the same problem in the two matches. Look, Algeria has 32 shots, 0 goals. So that comes down to a few things. But for me, number one is a lack of sharpness in front of goal. We have had some goal scoring opportunities. We have not been clinical enough. I can think of one off the top of my head yesterday against Equatorial Guinea, Islam Slimani, in on goal, just the goalkeeper in front of him, ends up shooting it and the ball's behind. What a sitter. So these things, you score one of these, and then after that, it's contagious. You knock in a second, a third, the game opens up. We definitely need to be more clinical in front of goal. The second thing I would say, I think that the team lacked a sense of urgency in both matches in the first halves. They were sometimes content to keep possession sterilely. Yesterday, we had 70% possession. And they were sometimes content to just pass it along the back line and then try a long diagonal, and then it's a one-on-one dribble in the corner. And sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. So I think those two things are probably the main things. That's what's wrong with football. But the coach, Jamal Belmadi, said, look, sometimes football isn't rational. You can dominate a match and the ball just won't go in the net. And I think Algeria, a little bit of lack of execution and also a little bit of lack of luck, I would say.
Good point. But look, is there any way that Algeria gets back from this? Because now you need a win against Cote d'Ivoire to advance. So are we facing the prospect of Algeria, defending champions, going out in the first round?
Perhaps. Look, this isn't a dead rubber for Cote d'Ivoire. They're going to want to win this match. And everybody knows they probably have the first or second most talented squad in this tournament, in my opinion, right alongside Senegal. So against a team like that, you never know how they're going to show up. On their day, they could be anybody on the continent. I'll tell you one thing. Today, at the Algeria training session lasted 3 hours. I've never heard of this before. So a 3-hour session. Yeah.
Somebody must be mad. Was it hopping mad?
Yeah. I mean, you could feel like even after the match at the post-match press conference, that loss really shook him. He wanted this feather in his cap of, having an African team and an Algerian team having the record. He really had high ambitions for this Cup of Nations, and you could feel that, like, okay, like there's another gear that's been shifted here. Like, we need to win this match. Don't get me wrong, Belmadi is not under any kind of pressure. It's not like he's going to be sacked if we lose this match or if we draw this match and if we don't make it to the round of 16. But I could feel a collective sense of urgency. Yesterday, the president of Algeria called the federation president, wishing him, we support you. I could see it on social media as well. Everybody's pushing in the same direction to try and get this victory because it really is a must win.
That's the weird thing. Like any other country, a coach loses to a game like that, there'll be pressure from the fans, from the media, from the federation, from everybody. So is it that Belmadi has built himself some capital, with all of the wins he's got, or just that everybody just feels, okay, it happens, one of those things?
No, 100%. Look, he got us our first Cup of Nations victory in 29 years when we won in 2019. And we talked about the unbeaten streak. And this country really loves this coach. I'll give you a short anecdote. We were playing a match against Djibouti, I think it was in September or in August. We smacked them. I think it was like 8-1 or 8-0, maybe 7-1, something like this.
Yeah.
For Djibouti, yeah. And it was COVID time, so there were curfews across Algiers. And so I went to the match, and as I was driving back from Blida to Algiers, every single checkpoint I was getting stopped, and to make sure I have like an authorization, to be driving around at night. And I showed one of the police officers my accreditation for the match, and he said, we started talking about the match, and he said something like, "Oh, Belmadi," he's like, he used these words, he's the minister of happiness. People really feel like, I swear to you, they really feel like he is the man that's brought them the most happiness over the last 2 years. Hasn't been easy with COVID, and politically in Algeria, things have been a little bit shaky. He is probably the most popular figure in Algeria, without a doubt. So he definitely has bought himself a lot of capital. I think he could literally, I think I was gonna say, even if we get knocked out, there's no issue. And then if we get knocked out of the World Cup during the playoffs, I think he himself would go. I don't think he would want to stay any longer. But I think hopefully that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, I think the World Cup is the big pie, because even with, say, Nigeria, for instance, I mean, the federation were prepared to sacrifice the Nations Cup, even if it meant going out in the first round, just to make sure that World Cup spot was secured. But having said that, no pressure, nothing. Does that take away from Algeria absolutely needing to beat Cote d'Ivoire in this final game?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's one thing I would say about this coach is that he's really self-motivated. It's not about just keeping his job. It's about really wanting to excel, to be excellent. So I don't think we're going to see a lackadaisical team. I don't think we're going to see a complacent team. What I would like to see is the same attitude from the players. Like I said, there's been a real lack of execution. I think they've been wanting to do well, but here, might as well talk about Mahrez. Mahrez has had a decent tournament, but prior to the preparation camp, he was out in Dubai for 3 days. He didn't join the national team. He was out for personal reasons. I understand he had a very busy Boxing Day period with Manchester City, but he should have been out there with the team. Your personal life, I'm sorry, but when you're the captain of the national team, your personal life does not come before the national team, not before a Cup of Nations. So things like that. Right now I'm looking for the players to step up. I see what the coach is trying to do with the tactics that he's putting in place. I'm really looking for the star players to step up. Your Mahrez, your Slimani, your Belaili, Ben Nasser. These are the players that really need to put the pedal to the metal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I agree, because that was actually the question that I was going to ask you was, the coach is doing a great job of seeing that. I mean, he can't just become a bad coach overnight. So what is it about the players that, they're not doing well? They're not executing, or are they just jaded?
Yeah, it's a good question, Colin. Some people are asking if there needs to be a shakeup in the squad. If there's one valid criticism of Belmadi is that he tends to keep the same 23, players. He has his group. He trusts in them. They trust in him, but he doesn't make a lot of changes in and out of the squad. There were at least 3 or 4 players that most Algerians thought could be a plus to the side that he didn't bring. For example, the right back at Clermont in France, Hakim Zederka, who many think is a fantastic player who could probably be a very solid backup for Youssef Attal as a right back. The coach didn't want to call him up because, again, I think he has his group and he trusts in them. And but now it's up to them to step up, really. So what is it? It could be that they're a little bit jaded. It could be, again, I think it's a combination of factors. It could be the temperature, whatever. That's not really an excuse. Most of all, they just need to get it done. Honestly, it's that simple. You just need to put the ball into the back of the net. You're in a position, you have the chances, just have to do it.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, even if they win, they can't win the group. The best they can finish is second. And even that is that. So they might end up finishing third. And there are 2 things. They finish third, they go in as they don't make it because the other team in the group has a better goal difference, or they finish third, they qualify, and then guess who they have to meet?
Cameroon, yeah.
Well, Cameroon, or even Nigeria. I mean,
or Nigeria. Oh,
yeah,
wow. Okay, I didn't know Nigeria was
I
an
think the winner
option.
of Group D meets
There's
the
permutation.
third place team from So there's a bit of permutation going on there. But then Cameroon or Nigeria, not easy, yeah.
It's rough, but even prior to the tournament, when you see like a lot of predictors and a lot of models, all these statisticians, they're looking at it, they're saying Algeria have one of the more difficult paths to the final. They're actually saying teams like Nigeria had an easier path to the final, but now with all of these unexpected results, maybe things have changed a little bit. One thing I would say is that this team is not scared of anybody. Honestly, like on that run, they've proved it's the same players, it's the same coach, it's the same tactics, and they've proven they've beaten Nigeria. I'm sorry, 2 times. They've beaten Senegal 2 times. They've beaten Colombia. They've tied against Mexico. They've beaten Tunisia 2 times. They've beaten Mali. They've beaten Cote d'ivoire. So they know that they can do it. They're not going to be scared of anybody. Again, it's just time to do it.
That's interesting. Yeah,
Easier said than done.
I think that's a good mentality to take into next round, because I think the teams that they might face, the first place teams they might face if they get through, might be more concerned about facing Algeria than I mean, they might think what rotten luck, to have to be able to face Algeria as the best. I mean, you don't win the group and then get to face Algeria.
I would just say one last thing, Colin, is that I talked prior to the tournament about the fact that, this coach is going to be gone. We all think, all journalists, we think he's going to be gone after the World Cup, provided we make it, of course. Mm-hmm. We feel like he's maybe like looking at maybe coaching in Europe and really trying to raise his profile over there, perhaps one of the top clubs in France. That would be really cool. And he has, like, especially because before the AFCON, we had World Cup qualifiers. And during those press conferences, all he was talking about was really, like how special of a tournament that was to him, in Qatar, where he was the Qatari coach national team. He lives in Qatar. A lot of players are in Qatar. How they really want to, like, Motsepe before the tournament was saying, "Oh, Algeria, we want you guys to do something at the World Cup." When they won the Arab Cup, the president of Algeria said, "We're looking at doing something at the World Cup." And I just wonder if maybe they were focusing on that objective a little bit more than the AFCON, seeing as how they had just won the AFCON 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. I don't know. These are things that you'd have to be, it'd have to be team media officer or something like that to know maybe a little bit more than a journalist from the outside. But that could definitely be a factor.
Yep, very true. So one final note: if you were to call that Algeria Cote d'Ivoire game, what would you say?
In my heart or my mind?
Both. Head, heart.
Look, as a supporter, when your team is playing, you think you can beat Brazil, Belgium, whoever, France, whatever. As a supporter, you've seen your team perform miracles before. You think they can do it again. My heart is telling me that there's something wrong about this AFCON. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's in the air or the water here in Cameroon. Honestly, I don't feel like it. The bounces, the ball are not going the right way. So I don't know. I'm not really feeling it too well. I would say my mind is telling me like a scoring draw, maybe a 1-1 or a 2-2, and Algeria might be crashing home early.
Yeah, I mean, we tend to agree on that, because I've looked at it and I'm thinking this is the kind of game that just ends in a draw, because Cote d'Ivoire won it, Algeria won it, and you just don't see any of them sort of like bursting into action and just going all the way. Again, like you said, I don't know if it's the heat, the humidity,
I don't know,
whatever it is, but teams are just not firing on all cylinders. So I tend to agree with you. I'm seeing this going as score draw, and that means unfortunately that Algeria will be going out. But thank you very much, Maher. I know that's not what you want to hear, but it's been great talking to you. I'm very enlightening too, and I'd love to see the Minister of Happiness and just hope.
Inshallah, that sounds good, Colin. Hopefully see you out here soon.
Cool, thank you.